Sweetheart, happy Rosh Kodesh, Adar 2?
Yep.
Base, sorry. Adar base. Where's the other one?
Of course it wasn't in the car.
Oh, I saw him driving away.
Oh, okay. Everything doing okay?
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
What was that talking to you? No, but the doctor said I'm going in the morning.
Oh, wait, what time is that supposed to be? Yeah, I figured it'd be a little late. But okay, perfect. It'll work. Good. So I felt comfortable to breathe. Everything's good.
You know the difference between you know the difference between the Shiur and therapy?
I don't get paid with therapist.
Exactly. About $500.
Wait, I know.
We don't need medication. You want this Shiur?
I think I like I want this one. I like that one.
Last week was the first time.
Let's go.
750.
Oh my gosh. And something's legitimately needed if, every case is different. Some don't need it. Some just need
No, this
to
is
tell some.
unfortunately it's a serious issue. But I'm just telling you that that's the only difference between this class and that. This is $500.
Yeah, bro, Chef, my coach will give me the ability to save people lots of money.
And you have to have Vita home that he's going to send it to you in another way.
100%. You don't think I think of it? That's 100%. That's the 100. He takes care. That's it.
Yeah, I guess if the teacher doesn't have it, he can't teach it.
Yeah, can you imagine? I'm like biting my nails.
Well, that's how most teachers are in America. They teach what they want to be. Business coaches, counselors.
So it could be okay.
I don't know how. If they found their way out, they could teach others how to get out. I don't know how I came upon this guy. We ended up as a coach. We don't even know how we ended up on Zoom last week together. But he told me how he tried to kill himself.
I mean, those sometimes are the best coaches.
Yeah.
And the psychologist, those who really went.
They could relate to their audience, to say the least.
Yeah. All right. I don't know what this thing is. It's working or not. Okay.
There must be an external mic for this thing.
Oh yeah. I think there is.
It would be good if we had it. Because my voice will come out much better than yours. Because I'm closer to it.
This is your world, not mine,
So I'm the only one that bothers. Everybody else Doesn't bother.
All right. I figured today would be.
Are we on the sheet?
No, we finished the
We're
sheet.
done the sheet.
Finish the sheet. All right, we'll see what Siyat Dishmayim is. You lose that hour, a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen in that hour.
Well, it's also Rosh Chodesh.
I'm saying
it's like
that was another hour.
Yep.
So I lost 2 hours today. I mean, I'd lose, it's just the same. But I really wanted to talk about something else today, which we're going to. I didn't have the full time to prepare like I would have liked to, but we trust. It'll be what it'll be. Okay, so since it's Adar, Misha Nechnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha, it's very, very important that we discuss a little bit about Simcha as it pertains to Bitachon. And we have discussed a little bit of it, and it's sprinkled amongst all the shiurim in a certain way, because the main goal, as we've expressed many times, the Shaar Habitachon says right in the beginning, the main goal, and I'll just read it again. Right in the beginning, he says, if I get to play the page at some point, not in the Psikh, I'm sorry. Ach mohusa bitachon hi. This is it. We want to get to this point.
What page?
I'm just page 40. I'm just mentioning one line. Ach mohusa bitachon hi menuchas nefesh habotech. Right. That is the essential line. What is the essence of trust? The peace of mind. Menuchas nefesh. Menuchas nefesh can't just be translated peace of mind, but it means a sense of relaxed state, tranquility, serenity, all those different fancy words. Because you trust. The depth of Simcha is a big, big sugya. Simcha, there's a lot to talk about with Simcha. But at one of the deepest cores of Simcha, to truly be happy with life, and just in general, to be a happy person, it needs a certain level of, it needs a menuchas nefesh. It needs a menuchas nefesh. Simcha is built off of menuchas nefesh. That's why bitachon directly can cause a person to have simcha. And we're going to discuss a little bit today how that can be. When discussing simcha, again, it's a much, much bigger, it's a sugya. Simcha is a sugya. It's not just simple like, you buy some ice cream and it's a real world of understanding of simcha doesn't start in the heart. Just like simcha starts in the head, goes to the heart, and then it goes to the hands. Sometimes you do it with the hands, it goes to the heart, and it goes up to the head. Or yasher, or choser, there's different ways. So the two basic ways of simcha, again, very basic, is you either add things to make you happy, you're lacking something, and you add something. I'm not saying what exactly you're adding, but you have to add something to the system. It could be some stuff. Most people think it's stuff. That's the classic. If I just had that thing, then I'd be happy. It could be adding emotions. Person he doesn't realize this. That's usually not the first place you go. But a person who's devoid of certain emotions, he's not able to be happy. You have to figure out what that is and then add the emotions. And there could be somebody who's lacking something in the mental, whether it's mental clarity, whether it's a way of thinking, and you need to add that. Adding that which we don't have. And very basic. Many, many details of that. Then there's another mahalach of simcha. This mahalach goes where you're removing the things that take away your simcha. Sometimes they can connect. Right? But etzim, you have a person, he's alive, he's breathing, healthy, he's got a place to live, he has, let's just say he has a spouse and he has kids. He has all like the checks. And it's a sunny day. Yet he's not happy. Well, sir, what don't you have? Right, we go through it. Like, you're alive, check. You can see, check. Breathe, check. You go through the whole body, check. Okay, good. You have a job making some money? Check. We're going right. Go through the whole list. So what's it's not exactly how I want it. I have a struggle here, I have a struggle there. It's not exactly the way I would want it to be. I thought it'd be a little bit better. Wait, but sir, you have everything, right? And we went through the checklist. You said check. Yeah. But we discussed this already. I don't have that. So again, if we would just take the checklist of all the things he has, and we'd put it down in front of a person, and nothing else matters, just that checklist. Imagine, we're looking at this guy. Case study. Guy has X, Y, Z, got all the things. You'd say, is this person a happy person or not? So we would all say, well, based on the checklist, he's a happy guy. Should be very happy. I mean, he's alive. He's got, you go through the whole thing. Then when you ask the guy, not happy. What's happening? He has something that's pulling away at his simcha. But be'etzim, he has it all. There's something pulling away. Right? Simcha is very, very connected, and we can only touch upon this now. Simcha is very connected to another word. Not fully connected, but very, very connected to a certain word. That if you have this, you'll have simcha. When you don't have this, you don't have simcha. And the word is shleimus. Simcha is very connected to the word shleimus, when a person feels whole. Whatever he's in, there's a million different madrigas. I'm not just talking about in general in life. It could be at his job he feels whole, but at house he doesn't feel whole. He could be he feels whole in his learning, but doesn't feel whole in his davening. There's so many places. When you feel whole, when you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's a level of simcha. Simcha doesn't have to mean jumping and clapping. It does mean that also. But when a person has a certain shleimus, he's shalem, that's the meaning of simcha. So if a person really should have, you look at the guy on paper, to us, he's an ish shalem. He's got everything. So why isn't he happy? Because there's something pulling away. Now he's not lacking anything. He has everything. There's something else pulling away. So when it comes to simcha, again, we're getting a little bit off the bitachon topic, but it's all tied in. We'll see. We'll get into it in a minute, but it's important in general. Simcha, ivdos Hashem b'simcha. Simcha is one of the biggest midas that we have to work on. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen when the money falls in or it's so low level. A person can proactively create simcha in his life, and not because he got stuff from the outside. However, we should know that maisim, actions, do cause simcha. In this shiur, and most often, it is important to understand that we work from milamala lamata. We have to understand life, we have to understand ourselves, we have to understand what's going on, we have to understand emunah and bitachon and simcha, to understand it. That's the most powerful impression on a person and can create a big change in a person. However, while we're doing that, it is difficult. So therefore, we also can go milamata lemala. Achrei pu'ulos, nemshach halavavos. The Kodesh Baruch Hu created a certain science in this world, right? All true science comes from the Kodesh Baruch Hu. All true psychology comes from the Kodesh Baruch Hu. They didn't create anything. If it's true, it came because the Kodesh Baruch Hu put it in the world. So there is a science, there's a psychology, however you want to call it. We don't need them, it's already in our svarim. That achrei pu'ulos nimshach halavavos. After the actions of a person goes his heart. Generally, one thinks, I act the way I feel, which is true. If I'm feeling down, so I walk slower, my davening's weaker, I don't talk with such energy, because I'm feeling, in my heart, I'm not feeling good, whatever it is. So therefore, my actions follow my heart. However, one can change that. Kodesh Baruch Hu has the ability that if a person he puts energy into his actions, there are certain actions that are automatically cause certain emotions. For example, dancing. Dancing is an action. If it's done with a little bit of with energy and force and movement, it creates a simcha.
Anthony Robbins calls this motion equals emotion.
Emotion equals energy and motion. Yeah. So there is a concept, all right? So if a person's feeling down, we're going to continue going, but if a person would fake it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it means fake it because I don't feel happy, I don't feel like dancing. Who cares? If you want to bring yourself up, one mahalach is again milamata lamala. This is mishenichnas adamar b'mesimcha. How do you just add simcha? A mahalach is so listen to music and dance. A lot of good music. Happy music. Just go on your favorite Spotify, Apple, and type in happy music with no words. So you're saved from all the stuff, and I'll play to you afterwards, but sometimes I'll listen to it. It's amazing. There's a certain science, a certain koach that Kodesh Baruch Hu put in the world through music, certain beats, certain instruments, certain tempos, has the ability to create emotions in a person, if you're willing. Right? Anybody could, right? You have a person, can I try to pick you up? The person says, okay, try. And you pick him up, right? Pick him up. And then the guy says, try again. And then you say, okay, and you try, and you can't get him. Why? The first time the person just stood there and he was surrendered himself. The second time a person, without holding on, he put extra effort into right? He put himself down into the ground. He didn't want to be picked up. So therefore he won't get picked up. So we have to want to be b'simcha. See, some people are so not b'simcha, I don't even want to be b'simcha. But that's mamash Yetzer Hara talking. Because the Yetzer Hara wants to keep us in that place. He loves when we're in that place. That's why Rabbi Nachman has a whole sugi called Mili D'Shtusa. Because Rabbi Nachman knew, he was the greatest Torah psychologist, right? He knew that people would get into this, I don't even want to be b'simcha. And they think that they're being correct. I shouldn't feel simcha. I don't deserve to feel. I've heard these words. A lot of things I'm saying is coming from conversations I had this week. I don't deserve to be happy. Like you're living in the country of happiness. Come on, man. Isn't all America about just happiness?
Aren't there some chazals that say you shouldn't be too jovial or something?
Kalos Rosh is a different story. Lightheadedness, frivolity, that's too much. But simcha, as much as you want. If it's going to lead to bad things, that's a different story. We're not talking about that. We're far from there. So a person says, I don't deserve to be happy. So well, it's a craziness. It's a mamsha craziness. I don't deserve. Because they have and then they'll tell you all their reasons. And they're stuck. They're really stuck in a really bad place. It's all sheker. The whole thing is sheker. Because I didn't daven well yesterday. I don't deserve to be happy. I haven't davened well, a million times in my life. What kind of answer is that? Anyway, so Rabbi Nachman has a powerful avoda called Mila de Shtus. Shtus means shtuyot, acting silly. Rabbi Nachman says, and you have to know what your madrega is. Sometimes people have to do it in their privacy of their own home. He says, do something silly. Do something silly. Sing out loud. Just dance it out. I'll tell you another, if you have little kids, playing with them with their dolls and making up speaking through their dolls. It's a great model. Jokes. Saying jokes. We're getting back to the bitachon part, I know. But a person has to do silly things. Again, if you want to do it in your own privacy of your home, go right ahead. Do something. You got to break out of this stuff. You have to increase simcha. You have to add something to the system many times. Add it up. Now, I'll tell you Maisa with that. I'll tell you an amazing Maisa. I don't think I said it here. I read this. Some Maisa I read. I don't remember my Maisa. Like Rabbi remembers millions. I remember 6. But one of the 6, amazing Maisa. I read it in a book. I forgot the name of it. An art school book put out by somebody who these stories were told to him. And he said that when the Chazan Aish was in Europe, before he went to Eretz Yisrael, so he was, I don't know the ages, he was a big person. I don't know if he was world renowned yet. I don't know. But he was sitting in the attic all day learning. And his wife was making the parnas, and she would be something. She had a store of some sort selling material. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember the exact details, but there was a guy who would help out. He would go to the shuk. He would buy for the Chazan Ish's wife, and the Chazan Ish's wife would sell, and that's how they make a parnas. So the Chazan Ish felt indebted to this person. He felt al-Karsatov, he felt indebted. And he went over to him and he says, you know what? Let's have a chavrusa. I'll learn with you. Is it every day? I don't remember the exact details. We'll learn every day for an hour or so. As al-Karsatov. I was like, really? Chazan Ish? Okay, So I think they were learning, I don't know, Zvachim or Menachos or something. I don't remember the detail. And they were learning. And the Chazan Ish noticed things are not going into this guy's head. It's just not going in. He's not understanding that the Chazar again and again and again. And so the Chazan Ish says to the guy, he says, tomorrow morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I want you to meet me by the river, or the lake, wherever it was. and bring your bathing suit. I said, are you serious? She says, yeah. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, bring your bathing suit. The guy's like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. Okay. 5 o'clock in the morning, the guy comes, and the Chazon Ish is in the water. In the water. Chazon Ish says, come on. The guy's like, no. I'm coming in the water with you, and this is crazy. Chazon Ish says, come on. The guy's like, no. Finally, the Chazon Ish gets him to come in the water. Okay, guy's supposed to bathing suit, he's in the water. I'll show you the story. Right, the guy gets in the water, Chazon Ish splashes him. Right in the face. The guy's like, what? Chazon Ish again splashes him. The guy's like, what's going on over? Chazon Ish says, splash me back. Guys, I'm not splashing you back. You're my Rebbe. I'm not. What are you? This is already crazy. He's going nuts. Chazon Ish gets him getting the eyes right again. Chazon Ish says, splash me back. And the guy finally, he's like angry already. He starts splashing him back. And they have a water fight in the lake, 5 o'clock in the morning in Europe. After that day, Chazon Ish says his head opened up and they were able to learn. The person was so tight. He was either he was nervous or he was so tight and bit. He was so tight, nothing was open. Sometimes you have to do mila d'shtusa, kipshuto, mila d'shtusa. Have a water fight with the Chazon Ish, in Europe at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes that's how you have to break open. So, that's one point, very important to know about Mishnah Nichnas Adamar B'Simcha. Now I want to read you something here. I saw this morning in Mishnah Nichnas Adamar B'Simcha. Ladas, there's different dayas. What that means, either you could eat ice cream every day. That's a way of adding simcha. Some say that's not really what it means. It really means doing more mitzvahs b'simcha. Ladas, Rosh Shlomo Zalman Arbach. Yeah? Everybody, we agree to Rosh Shlomo Zalman? Good posek? Marbin b'simcha, ein perusha laharbos b'pu'ulos shal simcha b'davka. It doesn't just mean adding actions of simcha, which of course it does mean. Not only. Ella, they're quoting us from Halichas Shlomo. It's his Sefer in Halacha. We might even have it here. El Iker HaKavana. The main Kavana of Chazal, Mishnichnas Adam, Marbin B'Simcha, Lahasir, to remove Kol Machshavas Daiga Ve'etzev. To remove worries and sad feelings. You have everything. But there's something pulling you away from that everything. A worry. A worry is not real. I mean, nothing's happening right now. It's a worry. We'll talk about worry in a minute. Memela, when you remove the daiga, the worries, memela, the regular simcha can just flow through. We have all the simcha right here, but from here to here, there's a blockage. It's a lot of Torahs and Pinimis we're not going to get to now, but right, the neck, it's something, doesn't allow all that you have. The guy, the checklist, all that he has, read the checklist. He's got it. Yes, I have that, I have that, I have that, I have that. It's here. This checklist that he has everything can't get to his heart. Why? There's something in the middle. One of the major problems is daiga, worry. So many years I heard, and maybe I'm sure I said this. Daiga, of course, you have to say it though. Daiga is Dalid, Aleph, Gimel, Hey. Daiga, right?
No bays.
There's no bays, right? Bays is, Daiga is every letter except for bays. It's Aleph, you skip bays, Gimel, Dalid, Hey. What's the bays? Bitachon. Bitachon.
I heard bracha. There's no bracha without
No bitachon. If you don't have the bays of bitachon, then you're left with worries. If you add the bays of bitachon, then you're a person living Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Daled, Hey. You're living the right way. Right? Proper living. So we have to, of course, therefore, simcha is very dependent on removing worries. Removing worries is very dependent on bitachon. Right? Now we're back to our sugya. So let's talk about worry for a second. Worry comes from, you can add if you want, I'll just tell you a few lines that I wrote down. Worry comes from, many places worry comes from, uncertainty, potential, futuristic, negative outcomes. True?
Mm-hmm.
Worry comes from uncertainty, doubt, and potential, futuristic, negative outcomes. Worry comes from perfectionism, or whether it's unrealistic expectations, or sometimes just expectations. Right? I have normal expectations, but when those normal expectations weren't fulfilled, okay, that's a little different. Worry comes from unrealistic expectations. Worry comes from overthinking the past. Looping through something that happened again and again and again. What if? Maybe it could have changed. Maybe if I would have done that. Maybe if that would have been different. Right? Trying to move pieces. Right? The chess game is over. But if I only would have moved that piece then he starts to create a whole possible outcome. What could have happened? That's great if you're preparing for the next, chess match. But if it's going to hurt you because you made the mistake, you're just worrying about something that's spilled milk. Worry comes from a feeling of lack of control, powerless or unable to influence or change outcomes. True?
Mm-hmm.
Worry? I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I have the power to do this. Therefore, I'm worried. Worried's in the heart. Worry comes from this. Also, we have to put this in. It's very important. It could be from, and this is always like the exception. Worry comes from a biological disposition, a chemical imbalance, or possible early nurturing. Meaning, there could be something with this person that there's just something serious going on. Just always put that in. Because not every technique that you try to use will work. Maybe he has a certain disposition. He needs some other help. Right? All of this worry, it doesn't talk about anything in the now. In the now, he has everything.
Sin is not on that list?
Worry over what? Past sins? Or future sins?
Past sin. If a person
So that would be the overthinking over the past.
The fear of punishment.
Fear I don't want to talk about. That's also fear. But we're here about worry. Worry about punishment?
Yeah.
That could be about overthinking the past, maybe. But this is not a full list, and there's many other factors. I wanted to talk about worry because Rosh Hashanah said Daiga, so I wanted to go with Daiga. That's a lot of people worry a lot of times. So we have all of these worries that take away. We have a whole checklist. We have all the simcha of our life, and all these things are taken away. Now, none of these things, except for, again, the biological disposition, which is always an exception. If that's you, there's other ways to deal with it, but bitachon might not be the way fully. But none of these things are actually happening right now. It's a potential futuristic negative outcome, and unrealistic expectations, which is not for the now, it's for the future maybe. or it's now I've had unrealistic expectations. I didn't make as much as I wanted to make, but it's not there's nothing true. I didn't actually lose anything. It was my, what's the word in the finances? It was my projection. Projections, right? That's the word. You projected that you were going to make a certain amount. You didn't make it. You didn't lose anything. You just projected wrong. That was your own mistake or whatever. Nothing's happening right now. Lack of control. Nothing. It's a feeling that's not really grounded in anything. So we're talking about a situation where a person has what to be besimcha over. Someone's pulling them away, and nothing that he's actually lacking. It's really all in his head and his heart. So where he is. So this is where the sugya bitachon can come in and help a person. How could bitachon help a person who's worrying about uncertainty or futuristic negative challenges or outcomes? How does bitachon help that from what we've learned? I'm worrying now, a person's worrying about some financial inyan that's going to happen in 3 months. And he's worried now.
It's not under your control.
Don't worry, the king could die, the horse could talk.
Come on, give me some bitachon, some statements of bitachon that we're working with.
You can do the actions, but the results are not up to you.
Yeah, but straight, before we get to Ishtad, we're going to get to Ishtadless.
It could be better or would be better.
Hashem knows what's best for you.
Kodesh Baruch Hu knows what's best. It's from a Kodesh Baruch Hu, he knows what's best. No, but there's a bad thing. But go through it. But Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who can take care of everything if he decides. Yeah, but there's a big problem. Yeah, but Kodesh Baruch Hu is bigger than the problem. Yeah, but does he really know what I'm going through? Kodesh Baruch Hu has been with you since you're born. Right? All of that, that's all of the bitachon in the headspace. It's under his auspices, and the future is in his realm. Of course, again, we're going to get back to this, but of course I have to do hishtadlus. He created the problem also. That's very important to remember. That's the beginning of everything. He created this in you. Right? With people, a lot of times, there's a problem, there's an emergency, right? It's there. And then we have to dam Hashem. Maybe you can get us out of this. They forget the step one is really that the Borei Olam was the one who created the whole situation. You miss that step, you're really in a bad spot. It's going to be very hard to have any true bitachon if you don't even realize that it's coming from him. Who's it coming from then? What? It's coming from some Yetzer Hara? It's coming from... Who's it coming from? If not a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So now I'm pitting a Kodesh Baruch Hu against Haman. Even Haman was sent by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Now, we still have to do our shtadlis, and that doesn't mean we should just take it lackadaisical. There's a process. But we have to even remember that beginning.
You know it came from him. Now you're worried because what did I do to deserve what he just did?
So this keeps coming. We have to talk. So I see this is a common theme with you. And that means that's a certain part that has to be worked on. But if you're even thinking like that, that's good. Even thinking like that. But
I always think like that.
Yeah, but
what did I do to get this? To deserve this?
So what does that come from when a person says, what did I do to deserve this? It means he's not happy with the now. He's not happy with this. I don't deserve this.
No, I do. What did I do?
Okay, we'll get back to this. Worry, doubt, right? This is the whole Indian of a Molech. Klal Yisrael gets out of Kriyas Yamsuf, right? They have everything. I mean, at least, in houses yet, but they're with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. They were taken out of Mitzrayim. The Kodesh Baruch Hu is doing miracles for them. There's man is falling, I think, already, right? They're good. They have everything. And then they say a line that if not the Torah saying it, you think it's crazy. They say a line, and we all say it. We don't say it out loud, but we say it in our hearts and minds. And it could be that the Torah is telling us what they were thinking and not what they were saying. Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im ayin. Is a Kodesh Baruch Hu amongst us or not? Many perushim, but let's not leave from the Pashut Pshat. They just went through 10 makas, Kriyas Yamsuf, the man is fallen. They didn't have a little bit of water. Challenge. Is Hashem amongst us or not? Did he totally leave? That's it. He took us out and he just left us. It sounds crazy. But for the people who were worrying, they have everything. They get to go through the checklist. And then the person's still worrying. And then you ask the guy, what is he saying in his mind? Is Hashem with me or not? What was the next pasuk? Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im ayin. Is a Kodesh Baruch Hu amongst us or not? The next pasuk. Anybody? Vayovo Amalek. The next pasuk. So how do you look at that? So one way to look at it is, listen, you doubt Hashem, so I'm going to send you here's a punishment. Here's a punishment for you. Here's a Malek. Right? You're a bad boy. How could you doubt Hashem after all that? Now you have to deal with a Malek. Any other ways? That's probably I assume that's the way people probably look at that, if they think about it. What's another way? Is that how everybody thinks about it?
It's describing what you're doing. It's a midah of a malach, a midah of.
So you're going into the drush. What David's saying is that when they say Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im ayin, that's a doubt. Is he amongst us or is he not? I don't know. I'm worried. You see what? Right? Doubt, suffix. It's a suffix, not vadai. I don't know. Suffix is gematria Amalek. So in the Jewish understanding, that doubt that they had created Amalek. It is an Amalek. That's what it is. It's actually Amalek. That way of thinking is you're on a Maleki. If you're thinking that way, you're on a Maleki for that minute. That's Haman, that's Purim, right? See what could happen. And another way, tied in with this, is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, seems to be, Mida Kenegin Mida. Bitachon, we trust that HaKadosh Baruch Hu always sets up the world for our very best. Every situation, whether it's a struggle, it's a difficulty, it's a tochacha, right? What does tochacha mean?
Warning.
It means rebuke, but we learn prod a person in order that he releases his strength. Correct? Because if a guy would be complacent, he would just go on his way. But this guy is a very powerful person. He's very smart. He has a lot of abilities. So Kodesh Baruch Hu pokes him, and it hurts, and it's a struggle, and it's a whatever, in order that he has to overcome. I wasn't by the shmooze yesterday, but Rabbi, that's the drasha that Rabbi gave yesterday. But he said apparently he didn't finish off the drasha about the fighting, but the point is that when fighting and breaking happens, then when you come back together, that creates a very strong, a powerful Indian in your life. Right? Anybody was there? I wasn't there because I was.
He told us to go home and fight with our wives.
Right. So he apparently that's what I heard, and then afterwards, a few people it's good to tell it out. A few people were by him, and he mentioned, I forgot to tell you the point of the drasha. He wasn't feeling well yesterday. I heard was that the fights are supposed to be just a beginning of the tshuva and the reunification. Sometimes you need a break to then bring it back at a higher madriga, which we could talk about at length as well. But that's often what's going on in Sugya B'Tachon. You have to trust that happens. So a person, you have a Klal Yisrael who's doubting, they're doubting the Kodesh Baruch Hu. They're not sure, is he here or not? So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no, but I'm here. Of course I'm here. I love you. You're my people. I want to be with you. I just did 10 makos. I just did Kriyas Yamsuf. Right? Of course I'm here. But the people are still doubting that. I mean, what's a Kodesh Baruch Hu supposed to do? I mean, miracle upon miracle.
Pick a fight.
He's doing the greatest acts for his nation. And yet still, the nation could say, is a Kodesh Baruch Hu with us? Kodesh Baruch Hu is like, I mean, obviously he doesn't do this, but just for dramatic purposes, Kodesh Baruch Hu is like, what am I supposed to do with these guys? What am I supposed to do? I give them all the good, and they can't appreciate it. They can't see. Hashem says, I have another way. I'm going to put them into a big fight.
That's not really so fair.
I'm going to put them into a big fight. I'm going to test Davka their doubts by sending, right, they're doubting. So I'm going to send another manifestation of doubt called a Malik to attack them, to threaten them, to Davka make them rely on me, right? You're talking about a nation who has no weapons. They just left Mitzrayim. What are they going to do over here? You have a well-trained Amaleki army, scary, attacking these slaves.
It says they were armed, and we make the drasha that it was 1/5.
What do you think they had over there?
They took all the wealth out of Mitzrayim.
Well,
I think they were armed.
They're probably not a well-trained army. Yes? Probably not. Not like, mercenaries. Al Kaponim, you have this nation attacking them, and they had to rely on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. They were forced. Moshe Rabbeinu's on the mountain, lifts up his hands. When his hands are up, the people were relying on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. They recognized, and we weren't there. He put his hands down, they forgot. It didn't mean that maybe actually happened. It's the Indian that when they relied on a Kodesh Baruch Hu, they were able to overcome. And when they didn't have trust in Emunah, then they lost. This was a test. It was a strength test. It was go to the gym. Go lift the weights. You feel weak? Okay, so we're going to put 100 pounds on you. I just said I feel weak. Why are you putting these weights on me? Sir, that's the way you build muscle. Right? When you feel weak, the way you build muscle is not by saying, I feel weak, and drinking some powder. It's by getting to the gym and putting on extra weight and fighting through that. That's how it works, Mida Kineged Mida. So if you have people who are doubting, and we're not judging Klal Yisrael, we don't know anything. We're nothing compared to them. But just trying to read and trying to understand for our own lives. That if you see a people that are doubting, it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu amongst us, suffix. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to send you a manifestation of that doubt in a way that it's going to force you to fight. Because in your mind, I could doubt all day long. I could doubt, worry. What's going to stop me? What's going to stop me? Until something comes in your life that's manifested in the physical realm and makes you step up. Now, nobody wants it. We want to run away. What do you mean? I'm doubting. Why are you sending another test my way? He tries to run away. Hashem says, no, you got to go to the gym. It's the only way out. You can't run. That's your problem. Right? We need the right eyes to see this. This is the bitachon eyes. So Kodesh Baruch Hu sends a Malik in order to force them to rely on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Now, we don't want that. You want a nation to attack you. You want challenges. We don't want. So work on your bitachon now. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, if they wouldn't have doubted, you never would have had to send the Malik.
It says the reign of Achashverosh and Haman did more to bring the Jews to Judaism than all the Nevi'im.
Brought them to a tshuva. And Kodesh Baruch Hu sent Haman. Right? Like I said I don't know if I said it here, we know every paragraph where it says, every column, in the Megillah, if you have a good Megillah, it says on top, what does it say?
Mel.
HaMelech. HaMelech. Because who's the HaMelech? Kodesh Baruch Hu. Even though his name's not written in the Megillah at all, he's on every column. Whatever about to happen, HaMelech, right? He's there. What's the gematria? David remembers. What's the gematria HaMelech? Hey Mem. Okay, let's go letters. Hey Mem. Lamed Chaf. What's Lamed Chaf? Lamed's 30. Chaf is 20. What does that come together? 20, 30. 50. 50 is what letter? Nun. Hey Mem. Nun. Haman. So HaMelech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's running Achashverosh, is also running Haman. HaMelech is gematria Haman. It's the same letter. The whole story is the answer to, is Hashem amongst us or not? The whole story doesn't have Hashem's name in it, but it was Mordechai Tzaddik telling people, there's a Boreol, there's a Revach V'Hatzalah. Right? That's the whole Purim story, which is the fighting of Amalek, which is the fighting of doubt. The whole Indian of Purim, the whole Indian in the story. Don't just run to the end of the story. Because once you run to the end of the story, you're like, yeah, but my story doesn't end that way. Yeah, but in Shushan Habir, when they were nervous, they also didn't think their story was going to end that way. And it did. So you're holding by Shushan Habir when you're Navolcha, you're confused. Remember, there's a Boreolim, there's a Mordechai Tzaddik. Let's do a gematria, yeah? Yesh, right? Yesh Hashem, is Hashem Hayesh Hashem Bekibeim Hayim? Is Hashem amongst us? What's the gematria? What's the answer to that? Yesh Hashem. There is. Yesh is Yudshin. It's 310. And what's the gematria? Yud Kivavke. 26. So it's 336, right? Anybody know what gematria 336 is? Purim. Purim is gematria 336. Exactly. Purim is the answer. Yesh Hashem. I didn't see him. Yeah, he was there the whole time. HaMelech, he's Achashverosh, he's Haman, he's Mordechai, he's Esther. Esther's also Lashon of Hester Panim. This is the whole Megillah. If you just jump to the end, if you start partying before you start, then you're missing the point. We have to relive. We have to relive the Megillah. We have to relive the story. We have to feel the down and trust like Mordechai Tzaddik that he's going to bring us out. The whole inner Purim is bitachon. Emunah bitachon. So I venture to say this is a chiddush, and don't quote me on this, but I would say, again, chiddush, you could argue with me, but I'm not, that Mordechai Tzaddik, when he went out, crying and in sackcloth and davening, he wasn't nervous at all. He said, it's going to happen. So how could it be the same guy, Tzaddik, who's so strong and confident with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, he's going out and crying in the street? How does that happen? Were you skits? No. But MSC was 100% of Kodesh Baruch Hu to take care of them. This is Ishtadlus. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't crying out of he's nervous or worried. He's crying because this is what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants you to do. Because if people are far from him, you go to a party of Achashverosh, and you're far from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Achashverosh is wearing the big day kahuna, according to the Medrash, the vessels of the base of Mikdash, and Klal Yisrael is going. That means you've totally forgotten everything. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to send those same people against you to force you to see these are not our friends. Right? So Kodesh Baruch Hu makes the entire story. So Mordechai Tzaddik, he knows the whole time. He tried to stop them from going, but once they went, he knew what was going to happen. Mordechai knew. So he goes out and his ishtadlus is to act in a way of the way you're supposed to, with tshuva. Tshuva sometimes comes with wearing clothing that's sackcloth and sparking a national prayers and tehillim and tzedakahs and whatever else they were doing. The people were probably very nervous. I don't know. We don't know all the people. They were probably very nervous. But Mordechai he wasn't faking it. It's real ishtadlus, but it wasn't going from worry. It was coming from, I know what Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to take care, and I know this is what he wants us to do. He wants tshuva. Bitachon doesn't mean, I know Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to take care, so I could just go back to my room and just, whatever, it'll be okay. Did you imagine Mordechai felt that way? Just, Esther, it's okay, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to take care. Esther's in the palace. She'll figure it out. I don't know how she'll figure it out. The people, they'll be okay, so they'll be a little nervous. They'll be okay. Because I have bitachon, so I don't have to go out. That's not bitachon. I don't know what that's called. Bitachon is where it's a combination of trusting in a Kodesh Baruch Hu and doing what you need to do. Not too much, not too little, not out of craziness. He didn't go out of anguish and he was just like losing himself. He proactively went out and brought the people together. Lech Kenos, brought the people together, and he did what he needed to do. So the whole meaning of the worry, Bitachon, again, there are always exceptions, but Bitachon directly fights against the worry. It takes time. If a person's in a state of worry, if he's actually in a state of worry, it is very important to stop and to think, where is this coming from? And what could I do in my learnings of Bitachon? What could help? Doesn't mean it's going to help in a second. But this is how we train ourselves. If you're worried, okay, fine, stop. What am I worried about? Oh, I'm worried about 6 months from now that thing might happen. Okay. What can we put from now till then? What can we put into my head that would help me? Even if it doesn't change your emotional state right away. But we need to at least put ourselves in the right position. So you go through the areas of Bitachon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who runs the world. He's the one who's creating the potential problem. He's the one who will be there at the end. He's the one who creates all outcomes. Whatever. You put it in. And then if you need to do hishtadlus, so do hishtadlus. But the point of Bitachon is you don't do hishtadlus out of emergency SOS. If we're talking 6 months from now, each situation is different. You do it proactively because this is what a Kodesh Baruch Hu might want you to do. Knowing that whatever happens in the end is up to him.
So back to what you originally started doing. So you're saying the Kodesh Baruch Hu expected more from Klal Yisrael when they didn't have water, right?
I can't answer that question.
I mean, all these other things you're bringing, that happened in Shushan, is something that we neglected to do something, right? And then Kodesh Baruch Hu brought a Amalek, if you will, to us to remind us of who we're supposed to be. And then Mordechai Tzaddik, he reminded us of who we're supposed to be, even though he was confident that we would rise to the occasion. But in the first case that you brought, lack of water is what prompted Klal Yisrael to turn around and say, we're thirsty now.
I heard those
What did they say?
I heard
What did
those
they say in the
complaints
Torah?
were in the problem.
What did they say in the Torah? They said, Hashem, we're thirsty. Can we have a drink? What did they say? We're not judging them, but the Torah brings certain Lashonos. I'm sure there was many people, but the Torah brings certain Lashonos and they complained.
I heard they weren't
So that
taken to
was
task for
their-
that.
They complained because they were thirsty.
Fine.
It wasn't like it didn't.
That was a test.
It's not like it had. They drank yesterday and therefore today. We don't have Kool-Aid or something.
I heard that wasn't a problem, the water. The next complaints were the problem.
There's many.
That's what I heard. I heard it wasn't a
But it could have
problem.
been a test.
They said it was a normal request. I heard Hashem wasn't angry with that
There's
one. It was
70
later.
explanations for every puzzle. We're going with one. There are other explanations. We're going with one explanation.
Which is that they were wrong in complaining for water.
Yeah,
It could be the
Because I heard they weren't. I heard they weren't. That wasn't a problem.
We don't know exactly, but
I heard it was later complaints that were
fine.
unreasonable.
Again, there's many things. There's many reasons for everything. But we have to read the Torah just straight, and it seems to be one of the added.
The lashon of is God with us or not is what brought on Amalek.
There was also complaints before that. And let's go back to Mitzrayim. But why? I just took you guys. We don't know. We're not there. But there was a certain test. Maybe that Hashem wanted them to get to the next madrega. He said no water for you. Let's see how you react. Let's see. Sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu does that. He takes away things in order to help us. Right? He takes away things to see how strong are you in your bitachon. Can you ask nicely? A person doesn't get something. So now, right, with the kids, they didn't get what they wanted. So how do they respond often? Cranky, complainy. Now, no parent likes that. Hashem doesn't like that either. You tell the kid, listen, if you just ask me nicely, come on. But that takes a certain inner fortitude, that takes a certain bitachon, that takes a certain control, and that's what we have to teach our kids, and we have to teach ourselves. Al-Kaponim is a combination of bitachon and shadas always. Right? A person, just to end off, we don't speak about this very often because the Chodesh Savos doesn't, but in terms of well-being, right, worry, and we're trying to put in bitachon, we're trying to put in the proper hishtadlus, whatever the sugya may be. There are other acts of hishtadlus that if you don't have those, the whole system may be thrown off. I just end with this. And this is not bitachon. This is normal way of living. If a person is not eating and drinking properly, if a person is not sleeping properly, if a person is not exercising potentially properly, and if a person is not breathing properly, besides everything else, if you're not doing the proper hishtadlus in your life, all the hishtadlus that you're doing in business might not help calm you down, right? Because you're just not sleeping enough. Very simple. Hishtadlus, when we speak about bitachon and hishtadlus, which, again, you need to really learn the sugya properly and how it works, and we've done that. I trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, but I still have to do what I'm supposed to do. That doesn't just mean in the parnas, in the thing. You're doing the paperwork you're supposed to do, but you're sleeping 3 hours a night. That's also not proper hishtadlus. You're not breathing, you're not drinking, you're not eating properly. Because you're just trying to do all the hishtadlus because this is what you think Hashem wants you to do. But if you're taking a hit on other parts of your life, then that's not the proper hishtadlus either. And so it's a big sugya. But our worries, there's a lot of places it's coming from. We have to stop it. We have to figure out where it's coming from. See what the problem is. If you don't do this, you'll never know. And then you didn't speak it out, or, the answer always has to be Yesh Hashem B'Kirbeinu. It's always the answer. Even if we start, is he not? The answer is Yesh Hashem B'Kirbeinu. Purim, sometimes you have to drink a little bit, to loosen yourself up. I'm not talking about drinking in general. I'm saying in Purim, you drink a little, loosen yourself up, but the Chazon Ish, splash, loosen up a little bit. That's what it means. Ad lo yada. Sometimes our ideas. I know this, I know that, right? Yosef das, I don't know how it ends. Meshalai. Yosef das, Yosef machov. The more das, sometimes the more you know, the more painful it is. Because you've already worked out. I know exactly how it's going to be in 6 months from now based on the projection. Buddy, you need to relax a little bit. You need to go in the water with the Chazon Ish. You need to splash yourself off a little bit. Doesn't take away from bitachon, doesn't take away from hishtadlus. Do all you have to do. Sometimes we're too tight. Okay, Mitzvah Hashem. Continue next week. Where are you going to have? Let's turn this thing off. You're going to do it? I don't know what I'm doing. Where do you come from?